For us writers, there never seems to be a shortage out there of books on the craft, and especially when it comes to plot structure. It seems like every month Amazon is telling me, hey Brandon, you gotta buy this new book on plot structure. And you know what happens? I usually do. I'm a sucker for them. And most recently, I was a sucker for this book, Jill Chamberlain's book, The Nutshell Technique. And I gotta tell you though, for as often as I buy writing books, it's rare that one comes along like this one that it really impacts my way of thinking about the craft. And today I'm going to tell you why it helps and how it can help you become a better writer. What's up guys, my name is Brandon McNulty, I'm a writer and welcome to my writing channel. As I mentioned, today I will be talking about Jill Chamberlain's book, The Nutshell Technique, and this book is something that I came across actually through a YouTube video. I was just going through some writing related videos and I saw this one interview with the author, and in this video she talked about how a lot of newer writers make the mistake of failing to write a story. And what she explained was that usually they end up writing a scenario when they should be writing a story, and it's like 99% of first-time screenwriters, they're always writing these scenarios where it sounds like a fun idea, but it doesn't have the meaningful impact of a story. And the example that she used to explain this is the movie Tootsie starring Dustin Hoffman. And in this movie, Dustin Hoffman plays a character named Michael, who is this actor. He's trying to get a job, and he ends up getting this job on a soap opera. And in order for him to have the job, he has to portray himself as a woman, not just on screen, but off screen as well. And the meaningful part of the story is the fact that in this movie, Dustin Hoffman plays a character who doesn't have respect for women. And that's his character flaw. And his flaw is tested by the story content where he has to pretend to be a woman and he has to go through life acting as one and facing the challenges that a woman would undergo on a daily basis. And what Jill Chamberlain explains is that that is a story. When you have a flaw interacting with the plot in a way that brings about a meaningful character arc, that is a story. However, she says a lot of writers are writing what she calls a scenario. And scenarios are when basically you have a character like Dustin Hoffman dressing up as a woman, but that character flaw that he has nothing to do with what he's undergoing during the course of the plot. So instead of him having lack of respect as his character flaw, he might have something like maybe he just mishandles his money, or he betrays his friends, or something that's just not relevant to what is actually going on in the story. And that's the difference between a story and a scenario. And that's where she builds the whole concept of this book off of. Now, the book itself focuses on these 8 specific storytelling points, and these 8 steps are not simply steps on a roadmap like go here, do this, make sure your character says this, have this event happen here. These 8 steps in Jill Chamberlain's book, they have to connect with one another in order to work properly. And that's the most amazing thing about this whole system here. 2 of the steps are the flaw that your character has and also the strength that they could grow toward. And whether or not they grow toward that strength in the end, that's up to you, whether it's going to be a positive ending or a negative one. But you have those 2 parts, the flaw and the strength, and then you have these 6 plot points along the way. And the amazing part about this is that all these steps have to connect with one another. Not just the plot points connecting with the other plot points, but they have to connect with the flaw. And I think this is something we know intuitively about writing, but we don't always think about it when we are actually sitting down at our keyboards. And what this book does, it challenges you as the writer to make sure that these 8 points do in fact connect with one another. And as you can see, there's some examples in the back of the book here. She talks about all these different stories. There's like 30 movies she discusses in this book. And if you could see, she has the 6 points on the map here, the plot map, and she also has how they connect with these arrows, these footprints, and then at the top you have the flaw and the strength. And it's such a unique way of thinking about story, especially when we have all these roadmap type examples like Save the Cat, where it's like, okay, start here, have the setup, have the inciting incident, so on and so on and so on until you reach the end. When you actually have to think about the plot and all the different pieces and how they connect, it forces you to make sure that the story is ironed out before you even hit page 1. So if this is something that sounds like it could help you, especially if you're a writer and maybe you've written a novel or you've written a couple novels and you keep asking yourself like, oh, why is this not working? Why are my stories not clicking? If you find that the pieces are there, but they're just not syncing up, or there's something not working for you, this might be the type of book that you should consider picking up. Now, the book itself is pretty simple. It really just focuses on the nutshell technique. There are no bells and whistles. There's no bonus chapters that explain all these different other concepts you could tack onto it. It's really just, hey, here's the introduction. Next thing you know, you're getting chapter by chapter on the 8 different steps, in-depth analysis into what they are, how they work. You get plenty of examples from those 30 different movies I explained. You get her feedback. You get different commentaries on how stories work, and it's just it's very straight to the point, and I think that's something that I appreciate as somebody who reads a lot of books on the craft. Oftentimes you get these books that they try to do everything, and in the end you forget like 95% of the things you got out of it. And I think with a book like The Nutshell Technique, it's just laser focused. It's like, hey, here's the system, here's how you work it, and here's some examples at the end of the book. It's one of those books that can really change the way you think about storytelling. And if you are interested in picking up a copy, check out the link in the description below. I'd highly recommend it, especially to intermediate and advanced writers. I think if you're a novice writer, you might want to wait a little bit on picking up this book. Maybe go out and read Save the Cat first, study three-act plot structure, get your basics down, understand how stories work, do some writing, familiarize yourself with the craft, the process, then pick up a book like this. But once you do pick it up, I think you're going to love it. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out my other videos, hit the like and subscribe buttons for me, and remember to keep on writing.